I can't help but feel a heavy weight of regret pressing down on my shoulders. It's been months since John was fired, and yet the consequences of my actions continue to ripple through the office, affecting not just my work life, but my sense of self as well. The journey that led me to this point is a cautionary tale about the destructive power of revenge and the importance of maintaining one's integrity, even in the face of injustice. It all started about a year ago when our company announced an opening for a senior management position. I had been working tirelessly for years, putting in extra hours, taking on additional projects, and consistently exceeding my targets. I was confident that this was my moment, my chance to finally move up the corporate ladder and achieve the recognition I felt I deserved. John, my coworker, had also been eyeing the position. We had always had a friendly rivalry, pushing each other to perform better. But as the selection process for the promotion began, I noticed a change in his behavior. He became secretive, less collaborative, and I often caught him in hushed conversations with our superiors. The day of the final interview arrived, and I felt prepared and confident. However, as I sat across from the panel of executives, I was blindsided by questions about discrepancies in my recent reports and concerns about my ability to handle high-pressure situations. I stumbled through my responses, confused and caught off guard. It wasn't until later that I discovered the truth. John had manipulated some of my reports, making it appear as though I had made critical errors. He had also spread rumors about my inability to handle stress, citing fabricated incidents to our colleagues. His sabotage had worked perfectly. I was passed over for the promotion, and John was selected instead. The revelation hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt betrayed, angry, and utterly devastated. The unfairness of it all consumed me. As I watched John settle into his new role, basking in the congratulations of our coworkers, something inside me snapped. A dark desire for revenge took root in my heart, and I began to plot. My plan was simple yet insidious. I would do to John exactly what he had done to me, undermine his work, but in a way that would be nearly impossible to trace back to me. I started small, accidentally misplacing important documents he needed for meetings, or forgetting to pass along crucial information about project deadlines. As the weeks passed, I escalated my efforts. I began to subtly alter data in his reports, introducing small errors that wouldn't be immediately noticeable but would accumulate over time. I spread whispers of doubt about his competence among our colleagues, much as he had done to me. At first, John seemed to brush off these setbacks as simple mistakes or bad luck. But as they continued to pile up, I could see the stress beginning to take its toll. He started coming in earlier and staying later, desperately trying to keep up with the mounting issues in his projects. The turning point came during a crucial presentation to our biggest client. I had made sure that John's slideshow contained outdated information, making our company look unprepared and unprofessional. The client was furious, and John was left stammering apologies and explanations. In the aftermath of this disaster, management began to take a closer look at John's performance. They found a pattern of errors, missed deadlines, and poor communication, all carefully orchestrated by me. Within a month, John was called into a meeting with HR and upper management. He left the office that day with a cardboard box of personal items, his career in tatters. Initially, I felt a surge of triumph. I had won. John had paid the price for his betrayal, and I had exacted my revenge. But as I sat at my desk watching him walk out of the office for the last time, an unexpected feeling washed over me, not satisfaction, but a deep, gnawing guilt. The weeks that followed were far from the victory lap I had imagined. The office atmosphere changed palpably. Colleagues who had once been friendly became distant and wary. Whispers followed me through the hallways. While no one could prove my involvement in John's downfall, many suspected it. I found myself isolated, trusted by neither my coworkers nor management. The promotion I had so desperately wanted seemed further out of reach than ever. Worst of all, I couldn't shake the feeling that I had become the very thing I despised, someone who would sabotage others for personal gain. The full weight of what I had done began to sink in. In my quest for revenge, I had compromised my integrity, betrayed my own values, and potentially ruined a man's career. The fact that John had wronged me first did nothing to alleviate the guilt that now consumed me. I started to see how my actions had affected not just John, but the entire office. The trust and camaraderie that had once defined our workplace were gone, replaced by suspicion and unease. Projects that had once run smoothly now faltered as team members hesitated to collaborate fully, always watching their backs. My work began to suffer as well. The energy I had once poured into my job was now spent maintaining the web of lies and sabotage I had created. I found myself constantly looking over my shoulder, paranoid that my actions would be discovered. The stress was overwhelming, affecting my health and my relationships outside of work. It was during a particularly sleepless night that I had my epiphany. I realized that in trying to right the wrong done to me, I had only created more wrongs. My revenge hadn't made me feel better or more successful, it had only left me feeling hollow and ashamed. The next morning, I made a decision. I couldn't undo what I had done, but I could stop the cycle of deceit and begin to make amends. I started by confessing to my direct supervisor, laying out everything I had done. The conversation was one of the most difficult of my life, but as I spoke, I felt a weight lifting from my shoulders. The consequences of my confession were severe. I was put on probation, my chances for advancement frozen indefinitely. Many of my colleagues, upon learning the truth, were understandably angry and hurt. I had to work from the ground up to rebuild trust and repair relationships. But amidst the difficulties, I found an unexpected sense of relief. Being honest about my actions, facing the consequences head-on, allowed me to begin the process of forgiving myself. I vowed never again to let resentment and the desire for revenge cloud my judgment or compromise my integrity. The road to redemption was long and challenging. I threw myself into my work with renewed vigor, not for recognition or advancement, but to genuinely contribute to the success of our team and company. I made a point of being transparent in all my dealings, going out of my way to support and uplift my colleagues. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, things began to change. Colleagues who had shunned me began to thaw, recognizing my efforts to make amends. Projects started to run more smoothly as trust was gradually rebuilt. While I knew that some bridges were permanently burned, I found solace in the small victories of regained respect and restored relationships. As for John, I never saw or spoke to him again after that day he left the office. But I did write him a letter, confessing what I had done and offering a heartfelt apology. I don't know if he ever read it or if it made any difference in his life, but writing it was an important step in my own journey of redemption. Today, as I look at that empty desk, I'm reminded of the valuable lessons I learned through this painful experience. I realized that true success isn't about climbing the corporate ladder at any cost. It's about maintaining your integrity, supporting your colleagues, and contributing positively to your workplace and community. I learned that revenge, no matter how justified it may seem in the moment, almost always backfires. The momentary satisfaction it brings is far outweighed by the long-term consequences, the damage to relationships, the erosion of trust, and the compromise of one's own values and integrity. Most importantly, I discovered the power of owning up to one's mistakes and actively working to make amends. While it's a difficult and often painful process, it's also incredibly liberating. It allows for personal growth, the rebuilding of trust, and the opportunity to become a better version of oneself. As I move forward in my career and in life, I carry these lessons with me. I've recommitted myself to my values, focusing on personal growth and ethical behavior rather than competition and advancement at any cost. I strive to be a positive force in my workplace, supporting my colleagues and contributing to a culture of trust and collaboration. The path of revenge led me to a dark place, but emerging from that darkness taught me invaluable lessons about integrity, forgiveness, and the true meaning of success. While I can't change the past, I can use my experience to shape a better future, for myself, for my colleagues, and for anyone who might find themselves tempted by the false promise of revenge. In the end, I've learned that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living well, with integrity and kindness, and becoming the best version of yourself. That's a victory that no one can take away from you, and one that brings genuine, lasting satisfaction.